Hello class, I thought I would make a video on how to access the textbook or e-textbook in ALEKS. There's a couple questions on it today in class, and so what you see in front of you is the Blackboard course shell. This is for my classes. It says spring 2024. You'll have different classes in here. I'll just click on my in-person class, and so that pops up the course shell for Chemistry 170. Hopefully you've read Quick Introduction to Blackboard. Brain Fuse, maybe it becomes more important to you right now, but it is a online tutoring program. You can schedule an appointment with a chemistry tutor at any time. What I would tell you to do with Brain Fuse is schedule appointments with tutors as much as you want to, and then when you find the tutor that speaks to you, that works for you really well, then start scheduling regular meetings, weekly meetings with them to have somebody to dialogue with, to get some help with the materials, or just to talk about it. I mean, if you're especially taking this online, I think it's difficult to take online because it's not like the classroom where you can ask questions and there's some interaction there. We don't have as much of that online, so a tutor can really help here. And the main thing is it takes a little bit of time to get the best tutor for you. And once you get the best tutor for you, then schedule those weekly visits. If you haven't looked over Start Here, you should do that, especially the syllabus. I'm still having questions about how things are graded, or I have students say, well, I couldn't complete something because my internet was out. Well, that's not a systematic error if it's just one person's internet's out. So that'll be one that they drop. That talks about that in the syllabus, so make sure you read that. Another thing here, if you look under academic resources, if you're having a problem with Connect, ALEKS, make sure you click troubleshooting down here. If you don't get all green checks, there's a service interruption today. I noticed that the other day too, and I'll look at that, but it should run a program here and determine if you have a service interruption or something's not right. If it's not all green checks, that means you've got a mistake that needs to be fixed. So make sure you run that. I think it's really important that you do that. If you do have problems with a module or the test coming up online, just for the online class, you always click support when you have a problem, and make sure that you contact them with technical support and tell them what the problem is so that they can document it. Then McGraw-Hill will come back and say, yeah, they had a real problem. And most of the time they don't, but if you do really have a problem with McGraw-Hill and it's a McGraw-Hill problem, a systematic error, then you will get to reset an exam. But I got to have McGraw-Hill saying it is a problem. If it's not with McGraw-Hill, then you can always click up here too with BCTC Technology Resources as well to get some help if it's a Blackboard problem. I don't generally see a Blackboard problem in this class, but it's a possibility as well. So the next thing is people are asking me, how do you access the book? Well, you go down to ALEKS and you click on it, and yours is going to look a little different than mine. I'll try to put it in student mode here so you can see it, but so let me put this in student mode. All right, so when you enter into student view, you should be seeing the chapter 2 now. We're done with chapter 1. You should be able to see where you are on your total completion. That's going to be at the end as well. But this is called a hamburger up here. If you click on the hamburger, you should be able to see the textbook. So you click down here so make sure you're clicking on that hamburger. I do think people have problems with clicking on the hamburger. The advantage is you can see your grades. You can see what your grades are, and trust the grades in ALEKS more than Blackboard, because the grades in McGraw-Hill, that's what they have recorded. That is what I'm going to go by. Blackboard doesn't update grades until overnight, and so when you want to make sure things are done before due dates and things like that, make sure you click on the grade book and look at that. Also, you can look at the calendar. It'll tell you when things are due. Like you can see right there, it says Chapter 2 due on January 26th. And there will be an exam next week starting on Wednesday, and it'll be posted up here as well. But it'll also be posted in Blackboard Access too. So just keep that in mind. I think it's important that you kind of follow the calendar and see what's going on. Oops, let's go back to student view. I think I popped out of it. So again, hamburger up here, you click on it, and you can go down here to textbook, and you can click on the ebook. And so this is what it looks like. And this is the first, if you need to know some of your, let's say you're doing some calculations, and there's some type of what's the charge of an electron? Well, right there it is. So this is called the end notes. They're on like the cover, backside of the cover within the actual printed copy. And we are going to use some of these. We definitely ask you to memorize these prefixes and what they represent as powers of 10. I don't really care about tera. But the rest of these, I'm not as big on giga either, but the rest of these are fair game for the exam. You got some conversions. If you don't have these memorized, that 1 pound is 454 grams or 453.6, and 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. You definitely need to memorize that. One that's not on here, 1.06 quarts equals a liter, so keep that in mind as well. There's the temperature conversions that we've talked about, so make sure you know those. So I'm going to expand on this. So again, hamburger up here, and then here's the content. And so the question in class was, where are the odd problems you talk about doing in the back of the chapter to get us ready for the exam? So each section's in the book. And let me just say one thing about this too. I think some students are having some confusion. So I've clicked on section 1.2 and it says I'm on page 6. So this is the actual page number of the book. And I have students who say, well, I didn't see everything. Well, you got to scroll down. You have to scroll down. You don't just click on this arrow up here. You scroll down and read this, and eventually you get to the end of this web page section. And I don't know what the rhyme or reason of if it breaks off at each point, at each unit, but here's some more problems for you to try. If after reading this section, you should be able to do these problems. And if you can't, then you really haven't mastered that. You haven't learned it, and you need to try again, because that's what these end of the section problems are all about. It's like, you read all this, but did you really comprehend it and learn it proficiently enough to do well on the exam? So when you get to the end, you're not done. Then the next thing you do, you click the next arrow and you go to section 1.3 and you scroll down. And so just make sure you, especially this section, one of the most missed parts of the first test is addition and subtraction of significant figures. You can actually gain or lose significant figures on addition and subtraction. So just keep that in mind. Again, give you plenty of examples. They give you an example, they have you one to attempt, they have you one, and then you got the answers, and then they have one to build a little bit harder, and then they ultimately get to a conceptualization. That's the hardest problem. If you can do the conceptualization problem, you're in good shape. And it's going to show on your modules, and it's going to show on total knowledge gain. So just take the time to do this a little each day. I can't stress that enough. Do not wait till the weekend to do chemistry. I know a lot of you are busy working 40 hours a week. Just cut out a little slice of time each day, an hour. Everybody knows when you're supposed to be studying that. They're not going to be bothering you. Just focus on it for an hour a day. You'll do much better in the class. And the reason why is, these concepts, some of them are difficult, and it takes multiple processing times in order to actually learn it and to remember it for the rest of your life. So spend the time on it, a little at a time, because that's what makes chemistry hard. It's about it's that each chapter builds on the next, and if you've got a weakness in chapters 1 and 2, it's going to show up in chapter 3. So whatever you don't get out of chapter 1 and 2, it shows up in 3 and 4, and that's why I have midterm as the last day to stay in the class. After midterm, you're in the class to the end of the semester. So by midterm, after you get your midterm grade, you're going to have to decide whether you're going to stick with the class or withdraw from the class and take it again, or drop back and take Chem 140 if you feel like you're really lost. So the next thing is when you get to the end of the chapter, and this is what I've been talking about, I don't think the module questions is just enough. I think you do need to look at the question and problems at the end of the chapter. This is a great study guide, if you're a great study help for the exam. So any of the odd ones, you can work these out and you can click to see what the answer is. If you're getting the actual answer they have exactly, and you're not referring to the back of the book or referring within the chapter, that means you're ready. But if you're not getting the exact answer, and then you have to look in the book and go, oh yeah, I made this little mistake, you're not ready for the exam yet. So that's why I think it's good about doing these odd problems is that you get a good idea, am I doing my significant figures right? Because this problem is easy. Look, they tell you it's grams per milliliter, so you're just dividing 546 by 175. So that's density, right? But what's also important here is that you get the correct number of significant figures. That if you divide 3 significant figures by 3, you better have 3 in your final answer, and they do. And so make sure that you're getting the correct number of significant figures and you're getting the correct answer with the correct units. Don't just zip through them. It is really important to do them. And there's plenty of practice here, and just work through them. If you're getting a bunch of them correct, maybe you can move on. Maybe you can skip it. Once you start missing some of these, especially these harder ones, I'm going to say this about the harder ones. Probably not going to see some of these like this on the exam. You don't have enough time. I mean, I think they're good problems. And if you can answer a problem like 101, you're in great shape. You're a person who's going to major in STEM. You're going to go on and be a STEM major. Then try these problems out and try to get them correctly. Because if you can master the complex application problems and the conceptual problems, that's what it's all about. That's what's going to make you get an A in this class, A in the next class, and right into physics like that. They take time. I would say I've done this problem here. It seems like this one, I don't know, it takes about 15, 20 minutes on paper. And it's, multi-step. But if you can do it, you're in great shape. So take the time to do that. If you really want to progress in STEM, I just find that, my good students, the ones that, really advance on, they do some of these. I'm not saying they do all of them, but they do some of them. And they can reason it out, and it makes the more complex problems less complex as we move through. So that's how you get to that part. But it's all about the hamburger, and then just scrolling to what you want to get into. They've got key skills. I like the key skills. This is a summary, like how to take a quality, make a conversion factors out of it, watch the units cancel out. So I like the key analysis. Hopefully this part's easy for you now. If it's not, then you may want to look at the key skills a little more. And then you have dimensional analysis, same kind of thing. And then you also have key skill problems. So if you want to do some of the key skill problems are there as well. So I think if you do this and you do the module, you should be in good shape for the exam. All right, I'm going to exit out of that. And again, this keeps track of how you're doing. You can look at the timeline, you can look at the pie. I mean, what we're looking for is at the end of the semester, your pie is completely filled in 100% or pretty close to it. That way, you're ready to take Chem 180. And it tells you what you need to address. Like, this doesn't look good. I need some more work on there. If it starts filling out here, I'm doing fine, but I'm not there yet. So use this. This is why I chose ALEKS. I thought this was powerful. I thought the readouts I get about, I can see how much time you're spending on the question and how much time you're spending on your work and how you're answering the question. And it gives me a lot of information, but it also gives you a lot of information. So use ALEKS to your advantage. This is a newer method of learning, and I think it is going to take off, and I think it's going to have big benefits in the long run, because it's saying you got to master this before you don't move to the next. And then if you don't have it mastered, it will show up and it'll keep saying, you need to get this down, you need to get this down. by looking at your pie chart here. So hopefully this is helpful. If there's other videos you want me to make, let me know. I know that especially online, I've tried recording the whole lecture. It's an hour and 40 minutes. I find most students aren't watching it. They're just not watching it. It's too much. So I broke it down into little snippets of what are the main concepts, and that's what I've been posting in the announcements. But if there's a topic or concept you're not getting, and it's not something I have already made in my Professor Chemistry channel or Khan Academy, then I will make a video for you on that particular topic. I mean, it maybe take me about 24 to 48 hours, but I will make a video for you. So that's how I handle both, the online classes, asynchronous, and I'll do it also for the in-person for something you don't understand. Just like that's what made this video, is that a student said, I don't really understand how you access the book. And so I just wanted to make sure that they know how to use the book, how to access it. All right. So I hope that was helpful. And if you got questions, just email me and we'll work it out. All right. Thank you.